We often hear that God's plans are perfect and that we should trust Him completely. These words echo in sermons, in books from family and friends, and in the quiet moments of prayer. The message is clear: trust in God. We're told that He has a plan for every one of us and that everything happening in our lives, the good and the bad, is all part of His majestic plan. These are comforting words, aren't they? They remind us that we're not alone and that there's a bigger plan in motion even when we can't see the whole picture. But let's be real. It's not always easy to hold on to that trust. For many, the struggle comes when the abstract nature of faith collides with the concrete reality of daily life. We're human, and it's natural to want clear answers and solutions that make sense to us. We like to see and understand things before we put our trust in them. This is where the real challenge of faith comes in, believing and trusting even when we don't have all the answers. How does one receive from God? What are the steps to immerse oneself in the reassurance that God's plan is unfolding in your life, bringing you peace? The answer lies in trust, a deep, heartfelt trust. When Joshua became the leader of the army of Israel, you can imagine how it must have felt for him. Here was a young man who wasn't among those referred to as the elders of the land. Yes, he led the Israelites to war under Moses and partook of the expedition that goes by the Promised Land. Yet other than that, Joshua was just Moses' servant who tried his best to attend to the needs of this humble man of God. Moses was dead, and hundreds of thousands of families and individuals had been entrusted to the care of this young man, Joshua. I'm sure Joshua tried to do the math and measure his competence based on his abilities and experiences. I'm also sure that he must have shuddered at how everything he had by himself faded compared to the mountain of this new responsibility before him. This inability to comprehend his situation stirred up something within him. You see, beloved, God knows all things, and He understands the frailty of our being. He is ready to help anyone open to hearing and embracing His teachings. He fully understands the constraints that our human logic imposes on us. Therefore, what does He do with us to help us at such times? He sends His word. The Bible speaks to us clearly in the book of Psalms, chapter 107, verse 20. He sent His word and healed them and delivered them from their destructions. God did the same thing with Joshua. He spoke to Joshua about his fears and reassured him of His help. The book of Joshua, chapter 1, verses 5 through 9 says, "No man shall be able to stand before you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will not leave you nor forsake you. Be strong and of good courage, for to this people you shall divide as an inheritance the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous, that you may observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate in it day and night, that you may observe to do according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and of good courage. Do not be afraid, nor be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." This was God giving Joshua confidence in his integrity. God was assuring Joshua that there was no reason to panic and that He would help him the way He helped Moses. These words would go on to motivate Joshua, giving him the confidence to face even the fiercest of enemies and to come out victorious. Yet the secret is not that the word came to Joshua, but that Joshua dared to trust God enough and replaced his fears with faith. You see, building your trust in God, beloved, you must first understand the one asking you to trust him. God is the Almighty, the creator of seasons and time. Before time began, he was in existence. And at the end of time, you will still be here. Everything else comes and goes. But there is one who is from everlasting to everlasting, and that is God. God was telling Joshua that he had nothing to worry about. He promised to be by his side just like he was for Moses. These promises made Joshua brave enough to face any enemy because he chose to believe in God's words over his own fears. For us to really trust God, it's important to remember who God is. He's the one who made everything, who has always been there and will always be there. So, when we remember that, it becomes a bit easier to trust him. God isn't going anywhere. No matter what happens, he remains constant, unchanging. Joshua's bravery came from not just hearing God's promise, but really believing it. It's one thing for us to hear God's words, and another to let those words change how we think and act. Every tough situation we face is a chance for us to trust God over our own understanding, to remember he's always there, and to let that trust change us. Trusting someone would require understanding their capacity and reliability. What can they really do or not do? How much of it can they do? How long can they do it? Do they have a rival? And can the rival beat them? All of these questions are answered in God. You see, the earth is what it is today because of the reliability of God. I mean, everything in nature continues to exist the way he put them into motion from the beginning. Nature continues to thrive. Biological life continues to thrive in the same cycle. Humans and animals, including tiny insects and microorganisms, are able to reproduce after their kind and survive on their own in nature, just as God ordered them. Mountains, the seas, and other aspects of nature may undergo a few changes, but no one goes out, of course, to breach the natural order of existence. David wrote about the greatness of God in the Psalms, especially in chapter 104, where he pointed out God's greatness in his creation. Now, let me ask you, if the creation has maintained such reliability for ages, what should that tell you of its creator? I know many people say all sorts of things about God, and about the entire universe being flawed and all of that. However, I want you to know that God is real. Creation itself, you and I, including those who refuse to believe him, are proof of that. And did he just put us here for nothing? No. The Bible makes it clear that God created us for his purpose. You exist because God has a plan for your life. No matter how it may look right now, no matter what you may be going through right now, no matter how you even feel about yourself at this very moment, you are alive because God is not done with you yet. The popular Bible verse of Jeremiah chapter 29 verse 11 says, "For I know the plan I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and the future." This means that even when you don't seem to get why your life is the way it is, even when you don't seem to understand your situation or circumstance, remember that God has a plan for you, and his plan is perfect. It is orchestrated for your ultimate good. You may walk through the valleys, tread the rough paths, and experience the dark nights, but remember, dawn is inevitable. Even when times are tough and nothing makes sense, remember that hard times, sad days, and struggles don't mean God has left your side. Every problem and tough moment is just a step closer to the happy and bright future He has set up for you. So keep your head up and your heart strong. Better days are coming. Remember what we read about Joshua. He probably didn't understand why God would choose him for the job of bringing the nation into their inheritance. He probably didn't understand how he would get the job done. However, one thing he knew was that God was trustworthy. He had seen God move on behalf of Israel. He had seen God divide the Red Sea for the people to walk on dry ground. He had seen the glory of God descend on Mount Sinai in thick darkness and smoke with thunder and lightning. He had heard the voice of God when He thundered from heaven. He had seen the glory of God ascend and descend in the tent of meeting. He had seen the walls of Jericho fall, a seemingly impregnable fortress undone not by the might of an army, but by the obedience of faith and the power of God's presence. He had seen the sun stand still and the moon stay in place at the Battle of Gibeon, a testament to a God who commands the heavens in favor of His children. Joshua had seen water gush out from the rock at Meribah, providing refreshment and life to a thirsty and grumbling nation in the wilderness. He also witnessed the pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night, constant indicators of God's unyielding presence and guidance amidst the uncertainties of the wilderness. Each of these miraculous occurrences was not just a display of God's power, but a personal encounter for Joshua, reinforcing his faith and trust in God's ability to lead, provide, and protect. For Joshua, every amazing thing that happened was like a solid foundation stone, making his faith and trust in God unshakable. He knew this God was real, who was worth trusting, and he dared to do just that. He dared to trust God. Maybe your story is not like Joshua's story. Maybe you are not taking over a responsibility from anyone. Instead, you are dealing with your own troubles in your own life. Or maybe you are dealing with an inherited challenge like Joshua, taking over from Moses and inheriting the responsibilities attached to that office. Whatever your situation may be, whatever the question you are asking, whatever you may not understand in your life right now, God wants you to trust Him with it. God has always had this strong desire to demonstrate His might and glory to His children, regardless of our limitations. So what He told the king Asa of Israel in the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 16, verse 9, "For the eyes of the Lord range throughout the earth to strengthen those whose hearts are fully committed to Him. You have done a foolish thing, and from now on you will be at war." The Bible is conveying the idea that God is always watching and looking to aid those who are devoted to Him. But here, it's actually a warning to King Asa of Judah from the prophet Hanani. King Asa made the mistake of asking another king for help instead of turning to God. Because of this, he was told he'd have to face war as a result of not putting his trust in God. Just as Satan is always going about the whole earth, seeking for whom to destroy, God is looking about, seeking to strengthen, to help, to heal, to deliver those who dare to commit their hearts to Him. If you can trust a human being and believe what they have said to be true because of their intellectual status and acumen, then you should trust God more. Man is limited in many ways, but God isn't. When it comes to our dealings with God, we are our own most significant limitations. Man is limited by circumstances, innovations, time, and space. The person you're counting on for support could face unexpected challenges at any moment. They could pass away, experience failure, lose their employment, encounter an accident, or become obsolete. However, the Bible says that Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. He isn't changing. It hasn't changed. He is consistency personified. His plans for and regarding you are good. Every promise from Him is solid because He never changes. People might let you down, but Jesus never will. As you go through different challenges in life, you can always count on Jesus' unchanging love and support. His love isn't shaky. It's strong and always there for you. It doesn't just stay the same, but gets even stronger, giving you the strength and support you need at every step of your life's journey.